Welcome everyone to VR Jungle, a Havoc podcast. This is your host, Gerald C. And today, since, I don't know, we last minute tried to get Mr. King Louie over there all situated, but he's just going to be living as a floating circle of the desk of VR Jungle podcast. And as you heard the name, yes, today's guest is King Louie. How you doing today, King Louie?
Hey, man.
What about you, huh? Who are you? What do you do? What
Hey,
VR games you do?
I am King Louie, the one and
The
only.
one and only.
Contractors VR, especially. Haven't really dove into all these other games as you yourself and your team, but interested always, just like to have fun and mess around with people.
Oh, geez, my phone just spoke at me. So you haven't played any other VR game. Your main thing has been contractors.
Yeah, honestly, since I got it, I started playing Bone Labs, just messing around,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's it, nothing else.
Nothing
Not
else.
Population 1, onward, not yet.
Not yet. Wow. So you came in, and so how many years have you been playing contractors?
It's about to be a year, man. I got it like November last year. I bought the Oculus, bought contractors, and was like, all right, let's go.
This is where I
Let's
will
do it.
live for the rest of my time.
Yeah, honestly, man, I loved it. It was you know we're a year in now.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I am.
And so you're part of the team UMAD, right? Did I say
Oh
that
yeah.
right? UMAD?
You mad
UMAD.
clan. Because
UMAD.
when
What does
the
that mean?
opponents,
What does
oh
UMAD mean?
boy, when you see the opponents, we making them mad by how much we're killing it, how much we're destroying it in games. So naturally, it's the you mad meme.
Oh, you
Yeah,
mad. I am this year old that I now just clicked in my head
it
that
just
that's what it
clicked.
means.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
It,
You've been reading it as one whole word, umad, and
yeah,
you're like, what is that? What is that? A U stand for something? M stand for something? No.
I have. I thought it was just an acronym. I was just
Yeah, it's
like,
like you mad. You mad, bro? The meme.
yeah, now I get it. Wow, I feel
You're
I
like,
feel pretty stupid right now.
come
That's
on, man.
that's a new one for me, so that's pretty
Huh?
cool. But while we're talking about contractors, I'm really bad about talking about like some of our sponsors and stuff. But since we're
Yeah.
talking about contractors, I do want to say that you or your team, if you want to get better at the game, you should get a gun stock by Olin VR. And anyone watching
Mm.
that, definitely check them out. I still like when I do my podcast, I still have to find a way to like talk about like people that sponsors and stuff. I'm really bad at it. That's why
That's
I
perfect.
don't make a damn money. I just do this for fun. So was Virreal your first league that you played in?
Yeah, it was, man. Actually, I was on Bazookas at the time. So let me tell you what happened. I
Yeah.
got the game Contractors,
Okay.
and I'm just messing around. I remember so specifically. I was on Factory, and I'm running around, and I kill this dude, and his name is Gato, which means cat in Portuguese.
Okay, that's
And
pretty
I was
cool.
like, oh, cat, but gato in Portuguese is also like a slang term when you're, calling someone real handsome, So he did that name on purpose. So I'm like, darn you, cat, darn you, handsome man. And
Oh
so,
man.
and then I instantly found out he was Brazilian. There was another Brazilian in the lobby. So it was cat, and the other guy's name was translates to popcorn, which is pipoca. So cat and popcorn got me into contractors, and they pulled me aside on the lobby. They're like, "Here, use this gun." It was a G36 at the time,
Okay,
and
yeah.
they're just like, "Here, let's play with these bots. Let's see." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you just started. You're already doing good, And that's where it all started.
Well, I mean,
And
I think at the beginning of contractors, anyone could pick up that G36 and just
oh yeah,
murder everybody. That's why it got nerfed to hell.
yeah, especially with the man. I mean, after this most recent update, the recoil on everything changed so much, but it was just a laser, just a nice little, flawless, no recoil. Ever you aimed it, that's where it's going. That's where the bullets are hitting.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
the good times, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but contractors has definitely evolved over time of the year that it's been out. Like when I first got it, I instantly asked for a refund. I absolutely hated
Really?
it. And then I was looking for a new game to play, and I kept on watching videos of contractors, and I'm just like, man, it really seems like it's going somewhere. Like it
Yeah.
actually looks like they've done some updates to where it might actually be pleasurable and like to play. And so I downloaded it one last time, And next thing I know, like they had like Nuketown and all these like VR maps that before they didn't have. They just had their basic, their own made maps besides the modded maps. And
Yeah.
as soon as I played, because I don't know how old you are, but I've been playing Call of Duty, like, for at least 20, 25 years now, like a
Yeah.
long time. And so loading into Nuketown VR for the first time was just like,
Oh yeah.
this
The
is mind
nostalgia,
blowing,
right?
dude. The nostalgia is like that's like the number one thing when I was a kid playing Call of Duty was just like I want to be in this and see it in real life, and then VR allowed me to experience that. And there was
Yeah.
like Shipyard, things like that, like those really toxic maps that used to scream at the freaking thing because you'd be still even in VR. There's grenades
Right.
flying around everywhere, and you're dying every freaking second. But at least in VR, it's fun.
Yeah, Xbox, PlayStation days, man. I remember I actually growing up, my dad always wanted me to play outside
Uh
more,
huh.
so he never got me like consoles. He got me like the consoles you didn't want, like the Wii, or like
Yeah, the ones that
and
made
and
you
my friend
work.
I played Call of Duty on Wii like for a while with a controller. I connected
Dang.
it but eventually I had an Xbox and I'd play it all the time and it's exactly what you said, those maps. But it's funny because I remember thinking, oh, like it would suck. I was doing terrible and played rarely, so I was like, man, if only it was me in that game, if it was me, things would be different. If I was moving,
Yeah.
and now I am. Now I'm taking advantage of that and doing what I love. I've always done paintball and airsoft, and that stuff
Mm-hmm.
translates over,
You
right?
really think it does? Like heavy?
Listen, I can't say like, oh, I was a paintball player, I was an airsoft player, because it wasn't really something consistent. It was like a hobby with friends every now and then.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, it does translate over because, I mean, aim is one thing. First off, it's impressive how well they do it in contractors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the meters off like 80, 90, that aim is pretty, consistent. If you aim upwards, closer to the head, if you aim down, you can shoot someone's foot. Like that's insane, right? To
Yeah.
gauge distance with a perspective all on sensors and people across the world. But they do a good job of it, and I think it does translate over.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing that really blows my mind about VR is because even though you're looking at something that if you were in real life would be a couple meters away, it's actually right in front of your face.
Oh yeah,
And that's what a lot of people have a problem with is that depth in gaming is an illusion.
right.
And that's why like a lot of times if you can get that weirdness of depth out of your head, like that's why a lot of times you see players getting headshots all the time because they learn that obviously there's a thing called fall off damage and that's just programming, but at the end of the
Yeah,
day all you're trying to do is get the head. If you can still put your
right.
gun on dead on, and I don't think does this game have a bullet drop off,
No, it doesn't do drop off at all, from
just
what I know.
damage drop off, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't think damage drop off for sure, but I don't think bullet, like you don't have to weigh the bullet dropping off or
Yeah.
dropping, but damage drop off due to distance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's exactly like you said. I remember, I think it's less now that this update came out, but just one update ago, which still had the mods, but not the recoil, unless that was all together, but confusing, so many updates. But it it felt like anything you could imagine you could do.
Yeah.
If you could like 360 and then jump and see someone's head, just aim and shoot at it, you're getting that headshot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even about like properly setting it. Now with the recoil, it's almost like you have to account for some variables that are going to be changing with your gun, with your spacing around the walls
Yeah.
and things like that, so it can do what it needs to do. But before it was like, man, I could be jumping against the wall and like before the gun's tangled in the wall and
Oh,
take
I
someone out
hated that.
far away. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing I'm glad they didn't do is add a sort of a weight to the gun. Have it actually
Oh
feel a
yeah.
little
What
bit
game
heavier.
does that?
Um, you'd know better than I do. I just saw it. I just play
I'm
contracts. So.
almost positive. Man, there's one game that adds a little weight to the gun, or they're planning on it. So maybe I'm thinking of reading stuff of Ghost of Tabor. I think they're adding a weight feel to their gun. Man, I almost want to say. I almost want to say Onward has weight to their gun. I'm almost believe 100. Let's give it 87% chance. I think that they add weight to the gun because you are slower. You can feel it, but it's definitely a different feeling. But I think this comes as close to being like I almost don't call this true VR. And a lot of people are gonna probably shoot me for you might even do that too because it is VR in the sense that you're running around in real life, but it's so arcadey and stuff like that. You literally just mimic Call of Duty into this. It's like, but if you look at a game like Onward or Pavlov, especially Onward, is that when people want to talk about like realism and like that's why Onward became so popular because those games are boring and it's like not that they mean to be boring, you just have to be so strategic that there's not very much action. And that's the one thing that I know that I loved about Contractors the most is because you get that arcadey feel that it's just run and gun, exactly. And there is no stopping. So like there was no like type of like me like disrespecting the game. It was like it's the fact that it's not that much VR to make it as boring and strategic. Because me playing Onward, dude, I'm pretty sure that I would probably fall asleep in some matches because they're just like you're sitting there like camping the whole damn time.
Yeah, I can't do camping, man. No, Contractors, man, it's honestly exactly what you said. I feel like I get in a state of flow. Like I do a lot of extreme sports, like well, I don't anymore, but like I grew up skateboarding, snowboarding, wakeboarding, you know, and all that stuff is exactly that. It's a state of flow where you're just in sync. And that's what I do in the game. And that's when I even notice myself playing best. If I'm not thinking if I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
But one thing I did notice after this new update, it's a lot harder to get that flow going, you know? Like before it was you're going and because you're not running anything, because you don't have to worry so much about that stuff, it's like nobody can stop you, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's almost like this wall will stop you if you walk too close to it, you know? So it's a little bit clunkier, but it's not as bad as
so
Onward,
you think the newest update went backwards then?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on play style, you know, because what they're doing is minimizing. I think they're trying to find the balance between the arcadey and the strategic. Because if somebody's hugging a wall and their gun is, well, they're also trying to fix bugs like guns through walls, knives through walls. But if someone's hugging a wall and their gun can get any angle, they can stay almost completely covered and get a shot. Whereas now, after the update, if you're not at least like a foot or a couple inches from the wall.
I always felt like it was already bad. If I was anywhere near a freaking wall, I couldn't shoot my gun.
And before it would go into the gun or into the walls, and that would mess you up or help you, you know.
Yeah.
And now it just doesn't. It doesn't even do anything. Like I tried playing with the AWM the other day, and I don't know how Wes on the team does it because. Dude, like I can't walk by an entrance or a corner without it like flopping all around because it's huge. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, you gotta like aim it down or like put it in your back pocket or something to get around the map.
That's funny. So, what do you think about Contractors making these mod maps? And I think they've gained their popularity solely off mod maps. You know, like they just, but like
that's true.
And I don't know like how controversial it is. Obviously, it's not that much because as so far as I know, either people don't know or they just don't care. But how in the world? My biggest question is like, how are they not getting in trouble for becoming almost precise? I
thought about that too. Copyright, right?
Yeah, copywriting, especially when they. So there's two things that I'm just like, you guys are pushing your limits. Like, okay, so modding a Call of Duty map. I mean. For a little bit, you could tell that there were certain things that weren't exactly the same. So, obviously, you can get away with it, but still, it's like, where's the infringement of copywriting or taking the same idea? But then I saw like something where they're getting into Star Wars, and it's like, look, once you start messing with Disney, dude, like you're messing with some big dogs right there. Like Disney, they don't care at all. You're talking about a company that literally hires freaking people to do drawings for them and then fires them under contract because it is cheaper for them to be getting sued by the person, give them their little payout, and still get what they want and not have to pay someone their full salary. Like they are rough when it comes to stuff like that. So when I saw people shooting freaking blasters and stuff, I'm just like, oh, buddy.
Oh, yeah, Halo too, dude. I think they probably have the copyrights in place, dude. I don't know. I haven't heard like confirmation. I don't think they would, but I think behind the scenes they have to have something,
you would think
some kind of agreement.
Yeah,
dude. If they're naming the maps the same, and then COD, like they're putting COD in the titles as attraction, so I'm sure they have something. Or this game got a timer on it, and
Yeah,
it's
and that's
going,
what I was wondering if they have a timer on it
right?
because after seeing like I don't know how much people know, but like they're making zombies pretty much. But
But yeah,
the thing is that they made the game to where it's pretty much a sandbox for people that want to mod maps.
it's
And
true. The mod
so
kit as well.
like how much is their liability, their fault for someone else coming in? I mean,
Right.
you are using their name and you're allowing it to go active on your servers, so you know.
Yeah. I wonder how, like you're saying, they're probably, tiptoeing that line where it's there's some rules. It's all stipulation. It's hard to read into, but it's about how would you say, just sort of it's free things that everybody can use, or but they're towing that line, like you said. Maybe we're not sure. The one
Yeah.
thing I don't like about mods, I love the mod maps and I love how many people are brought to the community, but it's like take away all the mods if you have to, if it'll stabilize the servers,
Mhm.
because lots of people have been talking about that recently, and I know it's up and down. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's an epidemic and we need to fix the servers now, but at the same time, oh my gosh, it's an epidemic, we need to fix the servers now,
Yeah.
because they do. I think it's maybe just influx of people, and I just if we get rid of skins, or we don't have skins yet, but like if we don't even do skins, I'd rather never do them than have them in bad latency.
Yeah.
So all these additions need to be worked in together better with the servers.
Someone said, "No, they most definitely do not have the copywriting for that stuff. They're hiding behind the fact that they aren't putting out the content. The modders are." And so, yeah, I get that. I get what you mean that the modders are doing that. But at the end of the day, so you look at huge companies like Enron that literally were like be put on a pedestal of being bankrupt as a huge like business company. Like they're the very first company to be actually just completely shit on for their due diligence of doing business. And so
Right.
back in the day when companies went under, they blamed all their accountants. And finally, one judge was just like, no, you know what your accountants are doing. This is
Yeah.
your fault. And for the first time, they're just like, everyone is going down. And dude, people committed suicide. People went to prison. It was not good. And so, like, for them to do is like, I think people know. But you know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking? I think that they're eventually waiting for Call of Duty, just like slap Call of Duty right on that, and let's just call it
Yeah.
Call of Duty Contractors, and there you guys go.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. Like, have they reached out? Like, why wouldn't they want funding from, because naturally Call of Duty, which every year there's a new Call of Duty with some sort of, new theme.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that they haven't looked to VR and said, okay, what's the most Call of Duty like? And then they're like, oh my gosh, there's this game, Contractors VR, and they have our maps,
Yeah.
So
They have
I get it.
everything.
What I assume happens is, imagine Call of Duty executives or, anybody responsible for that type of infringement. They're just scrolling through their feed and they see a VR Call of Duty map. And they're like, oh, this is probably like one of those Gary's mod things, or, they're just something that's not really. No, this is a profiting game with a community, and and they're
Yeah.
using all your stuff.
Well, when you look at it, so like, I don't think they're going to run into any problems until they start putting on the Oculus Store Call of Duty
Gotcha.
maps and then use that for profitability. I don't.
Gotcha.
I
They've
think
been, they've been doing that indirectly though, like
yes,
content
yes,
creators and
yeah,
just
they'll post
even
about it.
VREL and like contractors itself. So
Oh yeah, like I don't know. I hope it doesn't, because to be honest with you, it's like, it is. They did a really good job on just their base stuff, anyways. Their guns, their mechanics, and everything like that. Obviously, every game could be, bit better in any means. Even AAA games sometimes still need good updates and everything like that. Like if you look at a game that's supposed to be the most highly anticipated game ever, which is Cyberpunk, they are still continuously trying to improve that game. Even Call of Duty, they make dumb decisions too, where they mod a gun and everyone's like, why would you do that? Because you put people in charge of a game that they're there for a paycheck and not to play a game. So
Yeah,
they don't know.
exactly.
They don't know what everyone's favorite meta gun is right now. They don't, unless they
neither
have
do I.
people that play. But I think VR is the only time I've actually seen the actual people that develop and actually are either CEO or whatever, since it's such a small knit community that
Yeah,
you
they're
have
involved.
people like Tropical, who made Veil. He's in there playing his game.
Yeah, exactly. The people in the chat are saying, yeah, don't say anything. They're warning of cease and desists.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine, like, we upload the podcast and it just so happens to go across the wrong person's desk, and you're just like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what are these two idiots talking about? Look up Contractors VR.
But how do you stay off the radar? Like VR is only
Right.
going to get bigger. Like I get staying off the radar, but it's like there's a radar for a reason, you know?
Yeah, look, Wes just said, I think we should make Nintendo maps.
Dude.
Great idea, Wes.
Yeah.
He said, don't make Nintendo maps. But yeah, no, man, it's a complicated situation. We'll see. I mean, I would keep hoping it gets bigger and more funding, and then now I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe we should, just keep it quiet for now.
But how is, I don't know, like, if you can even answer, the people here that are watching this would know, besides people paying for the base game, that's all the money they're getting. And if they don't get an influx of people coming in, they do obviously every year with people getting it for their birthday or for Christmas, which is the biggest one. You have people come in and seeing Contractors, but I believe the game is $30-$40, right?
Yeah, it's like $30. I mean, and it's a one-time thing.
Yeah,
you can use it. You buy it once, you can use it on all accounts on that Oculus.
But say, here's the thing where you're saying, like, hey, you have to be like keeping off the radar and stuff like that. But they're not making any new like maps. The number one way to make money right now in gaming is a battle pass. There's never even been a thought about battle pass. Right now the only thing that they're really doing is allowing people like VREL to put content out for them to then use to bank more money on people coming in.
Yeah, true, and create a competitive scene, and obviously, like, all these players lots of players have been on since the game first launched, and at this point, you need a competitive scene to keep them on, or else it's just them destroying pubs, like like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
You think so far as being into season 2, coming into season 2 for VREL, did you like season 1, and do you think like there's anything that you would have liked to see differently that they maybe still haven't changed, or you'd still like to see change?
Yeah, season 1, I mean, like we said, it was just my first experience at competing and all, and I was just trying to see what it was all about. One thing that kept confusing me was people kept getting banned, like, out of nowhere. We never really got the specifics. We just saw people complaining in the Discord and the community, like, hey, no. But in the end, like, some situations were like, no, they climbed on this part of the map, or they did this, or it felt too sensitive for a ban rather than okay, weren't supposed to do that. We're gonna patch this. Let us look into this, or just handled kind of interestingly. But I get it; it's competition, so they probably look objectively in the sense of this may or may not have been on purpose.
Yeah, and I get it. And people, no matter what, when it comes to competitive play, if they can find an edge up, they're going to use it, And that's just people that are sleazy that, they don't really know the true sense of competition, of actually being a good player. Because eventually, no matter what type of exploit you're using, you will be put on a pedestal at some point, and there people will watch you. Either going to be casted or just see it when you're in a pub match. You make one faulty thing, that's your legacy right there. Just that was tarnished. But I do agree with you in the sense that the bannings and stuff like that were a little rough. But because on the sense of that, in my opinion, when you're doing a league and stuff like that, if it's not in the rules, it cannot be punishable by banning. It just can't be. You can get them in trouble, and you. So like me, for being one of the founders of Havoc, like if I find out someone is cheating, I probably 100% they're going to be off the team because we have a non-toxic policy regardless. But for them to not be able to go to another team and explain, like, I didn't know, it wasn't in the rules, is it right or wrong? Obviously it's wrong, but at the end of the day, it's just like, it wasn't in your rules. He found an exploit. He used it. Put it in your rules next time. If he keeps doing it, then ban him. Fair enough.
Yeah, or put above, that's another thing lots of people have been talking about recently, and it's about this game, as of today, still doesn't have anti-cheat software. And we're playing, I'm playing Oculus native. All I know is like terrible graphics and trying to find my arms in the Guardian. But there's people with PCs and like insane setups and rooms full of computers. Maybe not, but like these anti-cheat software is like necessary, especially when there's competition involved, and as the level gets higher and things get more serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to always, you know, be on the lookout and have that thing in place or something in place. Like you said, if something's not allowed in the game, make a rule for it, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And with the anti-cheat thing, I do want to talk about Scott, who is the CEO of VREL. Um,
Scott,
yeah,
shout out Scott.
yeah. What up, Scott? Yeah. So he is a very thorough person when it comes to competition. You know, he was part of the leftovers. He played competitively. Right? Was that right? I'm pretty sure that's right.
I have no
Yeah,
clue,
yeah.
but I know lots of people were on leftovers.
Yeah, so I believe that all the leftovers, they were all the group and they created this league. I think that's where they all originated from. Someone can correct me, I'm almost positive that's right. But anyways, he is also the CEO and the maker of Combat Waffle, which is making Ghost of Tabor. And the one thing and so if no one has not seen that, that's going to be a really good game called Ghost of Tabor. They're going to have a competitive scene as well. But with the anti-cheat software, that's one thing that I think he's been trying to maybe talk to even contractors to bring that in, because as a respected league, and it is his league, that he believes in that anti-cheat software. And it's so much that I don't know how much in depth it is, but I believe when he was on the podcast that he heavily talked about bringing software in like that to where, like other companies, if you cheat, not only do you get kicked out as your username, but anything that's related to your software that has an ID that game will know, it fries it. It knows who you are, and you'll never be able to use that PC or headset ever again for that game. You'd have to completely buy all new stuff.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. I mean, we see players nowadays with like old, VAC bans, which is exactly that, on their account, but it's, in the past, but they still have access to other games. So, but, like you said, the CEO is looking in, or not CEO, the creator, the CEO, whoever runs Vero. But what I heard Lon talking about, which is he said once some of these things are implemented in the game, he was talking about on the podcast that Dub City had.
Yeah, Dub City, yeah. And if no one knows, check that out as well.
Yeah. He was saying that sometimes when these things are implemented in the games, it's you got to rewrite code, or you got to change some things around that might not make it work the same way, and that can disrupt the overall flow of the game completely. So there's also that in the sense of, we have something working right now. Do we go back in and mess with it and then have to do constant updates to fix these bugs so that it's working the same way as before, but with anti-cheat? And, it's complicated because something's going so good now, but if the scene gets disrupted by cheating or just crazy hacks, like sometimes you'll be in a morning server and there was a video going around recently where everyone was spawning in and they were getting instantly killed with a pan, nobody around. They were just dying to a pan, like 12 of them, one after the other. And it's, funny a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, who is that? How are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Why do they have access to that? So.
But you would have to leave to believe that, there's no way you can put a native cheat, which is, so all cheats are exe files that are executables that you load into your software that you could put somewhere to hide it. You have to hide it, but you also have to pretty much embed it into the program. But no one's doing that with a standalone Quest headset. You either have to be air linked, or you'd have to be completely linked in with a PC. And at most times, in order to do some of these cheats, I'm almost like, I've never used a cheat in my life. I've seen people do Call of Duty ones. I've never really fully understood how they really work. But what I'm thinking is you pretty much have to have a pretty decent PC, right? And you have to have a pretty good connection to even get to the server properly.
Oh yeah, you gotta know. It's like you don't cheat by accident, right? You sort of gotta know what you're doing. You gotta.
Doing for sure.
It's the people who have the knowledge, and it's like I was saying. If there are players who have cheated before, it's like they know how to do that. It's oh my gosh, why are they having these insane kills? What a shock, And then you check the account, it's like, oh, they had a back ban so long ago. That doesn't. I'm not trying to say that's definitely cheating. Maybe they're a long time player. They do great, but the anti cheat is something that we can rule out all accusations, all questions, all you know.
Because what was the biggest one in season one? It was just that people were getting automatic headshots.
Yeah, season one, man. I don't know if I was just because I was in my own world and I was first, sort of growing and trying to become a better player. I didn't hear anything about cheating, and not only that, but I was just like I said, I was growing as a player, so I was just getting destroyed consistently, whether they had cheats or not. I was getting destroyed. But that's the humbling experience of contractors in the community and all, because it's analyze, grow, and and you start doing better. You start mimicking. You start and finding more stuff out about the game. Not in the sense of not like settings stuff like that, but just how to move and what equipment to use and which gun is best at the time. And this update just did this.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And it's good that the community is really engaged and involved with all that.
Yeah, and so that's why I don't understand. Like, I could understand some people. I mean, I really don't understand it at all when people do the cheating stuff, because I, as a true gamer, like, I have no sense of like wanting to ever even download that, because I like just being good at a game. And I also like when people come in, like yourself and other people, from your group of people and any other esports team that I've played against, to actually be put in your place. Like, holy shit, that person just whooped my ass. Like, wow,
Exactly.
he's a good player. I want to now destroy him, and I will practice day in and day out till I beat him.
Exactly. That's the drive. And
That's the drive.
that's what makes the game fun. Why?
Yeah.
How do you take a game out of a game, right? You just introduce cheats, and it's like, no, it's like, what's the fun in that for the person using them, for the person receiving it? The person receiving it probably just thinks, oh Lord, this person is really good. And it's exactly that. Maybe they're like, I need to get that good. But if it becomes unbearable at one point or two, if it starts disrupting the flow of things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, like, cheating accusations and stuff like that, this comes from inexperienced people that come into a league that has never played in a league before, like, especially for season one. Like, a lot of people really didn't understand the obsession some people have for this game. Like, I know so many, like, as much as I wanted to competitively play in contractors, I could not keep up with you psychopaths, like, at all. Like, you guys are nuts.
Same.
Like, I was, when I played, I could hold my own. But then, it got to the point where it's like I was here and I just was busy doing this podcast, doing other stuff. I stayed here, maybe went a little here, and then all these people that were here with me, all of a sudden, I'm just like, you can't even see my hand in the screen.
I feel that, dude. That's exactly how I feel. It's like you blink. It's like every month the players would get it extremely better, right? Consistently, everyone you see on. And it's all, like you said, it depends on what they have going on in their life, how much time they have to play, among other things. But it's exactly like you said. I've seen people go from some random team to being on one of the best teams, or being the best player on that random team.
Yeah.
And or random teams just getting way better. What I mean by random teams is just new teams, people starting out and now already going into season two as, vetted teams because they were in season one.
Is there any new teams that came out yet? Or is it pretty much the same as season one?
Dude, lots of new teams.
Really?
Lots and lots. Oh yeah, there's no, I don't know. Actually, let me think.
Yeah, no, I could look it up right now and see.
I know one. The Capivaras. Capivaras are the second Brazilian team that just came out, and Lohane, a friend of mine, hi, shout out. She's the co-captain, and they're another Brazilian team. They're killers. Most of their team is made up of Pavlov players. And so you'll run into lobbies where they're you're walking out of spawn and like 10 miles away they shoot you because they got that skill from Pavlov. But there's also I don't know if this is a new team for this season. I don't know if they put last season. There's Hunters, which is Colochina's team. I think they're Spain or European. What else? Code is a new team that's making a name for themselves. I think they used to be KDR players, some of them, and they've just been pulling more people. There's Code Red, Code White, Code Black. They're all great, They're all great players.
I think we have like 3 Havoc teams that are now in the league, right?
That's another thing. Havoc split. You guys got like a million teams.
That's usually how we do it. We get into a game, and then next thing I know, I look down and I'm just like, holy cow, we have so many players. I think in total, out of all the games that we have over 100 players.
Oh yeah. Y'all's community is jumping. Population. I got confused one time. I think it might have even been by a Havoc Population 1 player because there's a Population 1 player who's KingLouie as well.
Yeah.
But it's not me.
No, yeah. I was wondering because you were talking to me, and I'm just like, man, I know KingLouie from Pop, and he's talked Pop, and then I was just like, there's a KingLouie that I also played in Contractor, so I'm just like, okay, so it's not the same person.
No, not yet. I mean, I'm gonna switch to Pop. I'm not gonna switch to Pop. I'm gonna be playing some Pop just because I've watched some videos on it.
Really?
Dude.
When you do, you hit me up. I'll show you
I
the
will.
ropes.
We're gonna run some lobbies, man. I'm trying to be like, oh, go flying and stuff. It just looks like the one thing I don't like about it is like it has a Fortnite aesthetic. But other than that, I think I will love the movement. It looks pretty.
It is good. It is. It's definitely. So that's where Havoc started, was Population 1, and then we expanded out from there because I think, dude, if you look at how many teams came from Population 1, like you see the history and where they came from, I believe probably 4 or 5 teams that are still exist now. So you have Havoc, you have Disorient, you have Cobra Cartel, and then you have the people that just won the Veil tournament. Why can I not remember their name? But all of them.
Wrecked?
No, they didn't. When they were there too, but they're from Pavlov.
I can't remember the name either, man.
Yeah, wow, that escaped my head. It's Samachi's team. I can't freaking remember it. But they're all pretty much driven from like the Pop 1 scene, where a lot of them got their names. Like a lot of us did the very first invitational for Population 1. So that was fun. I think we got like 3rd place in that.
Well, yeah, no, it's probably advanced so much. Like I would just be stepping into a whole new domain.
Vortex, yeah, thank you.
Vortex.
Yeah.
I've thought of Onward, but it's like you said, just from what I've heard, I'm like, I don't got time for that. Like I don't have patience for that. I don't even have patience for that in Contractors, let alone Onward, where everything's slower and more tactile. So.
Yeah, and so one thing I wanted to get your opinion on, just because since you're a competitive player, and obviously the biggest thing that has happened right now was the Miami tournament for Veil, which was the 35,000 lane event, right? Obvious, but like they were able to mainstream that because one, the owners of Veil are from Miami, and then they got part of a really nice league that funded all that stuff. They're the ones that put up the $35,000. Would you want to see, like, say for season 2 or eventually season 3 to end the season in a lane event?
What do you mean? You mean end the season with a?
You'd have the championship at an actual arena, event.
Dude, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. If imagine you get a ton of teams that are top teams all season, and you get them all in a competition, and then one team just gets annihilated because nobody knew they were cheating the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's hilarious, but just a thought. But otherwise, that's something that can eliminate the cheating factor. That's something that can bring it all.
Because you're using their systems.
Oh yeah, somebody asked me about like Toxic Boss or Neuro, from Strive, who's we got to say the best player in the game, and they were like, "What is he?"
QTBG in the chat.
They were like, they were questioning if he was cheating or not, and I was like, "Well, watch him in this championship final, doing basically what he's doing, in game. He's a good player, He's not cheating, even though it seems insane, But yeah, man, it's. I think we should do it. I'd be down. I'd go. Let's do it in Vegas. Let's do it in Miami. Let's do it in Atlanta. Come to my city. Dude.
Yeah, because I know Contractors. They're the actual company. They're not gonna put it together because they're not. They're not American-based company.
Oh, really? They're not?
No, I'm almost positive that they're. I don't think they're even UK. They're somewhere over.
European-based.
They're European-based. I know that.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm almost positive. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I believe they're European based. But a lot of what I've noticed is that a lot of those war games and stuff are really big for the European scene. Like that's where like Onward, like when I first met a lot of the Onward players, a lot of them are European based, and They freaking love that game. But then if you look at a game like Population One, I see more American-based people play that because of Fortnite. I think that was probably the biggest thing everyone and their mother was playing. I couldn't. I'll be 30 this year, and even now I hear, since I was playing the very first beginning of Fortnite, I still hear about that shit.
Right.
And I'm still hoping that they come to VR.
Man. Battle Royale just took over, and it was hilarious to see Fortnite do it. It blow up with merch, battle pass, all these different things, and then every single gun game company instill a battle royale
it's
and a battle pass.
It's a freaking brilliant idea. It's brilliant.
Exactly, it was genius. So it was a good market, especially for how Fortnite has. It's not solely kids, but it's lots of kids who enjoy the dances and will pay for them and enjoy the skins and enjoy. So
yeah, my nephew
for sure.
I go, what do you want for your birthday or Christmas? He just wants V-Bucks. That's all he freaking wants. I'm just like, jeez. I go, hopefully they turn these all into NFTs and you guys are just collecting a whole bunch of money that you guys can eventually sell. Because right now I have skins from these people I've never probably even seen in their life because they're so old, that if they made these NFTs, man, I would sell them all in a heartbeat. I'd make a killing. And so another thing that I have interest in, I'd like to hear people's opinions in the chat as well, is that I am so confused in all these leagues on why they're not allowing people to submit money to actually, have a stake in the actual league that they're playing in.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I don't get it either, man.
I
would
like $100 submittal to a team, $200 to a team. Whoever, you pile that up, you divvy it out for first, second, third. Like, no league is doing that yet, and I'm just like, man, if no league does it, then I'm about to host tournaments and actually get people to start making money, because I'm like, people need to start making money.
Yeah, well, people get crazy about money. So I think they're avoiding any type of problem they could have with that. I get it, but at the same time, yeah, man, $35,000 tournament, dude. We have so many people in the community. If everyone gave like $5, it wouldn't get to 35. Well, it might, but it would get to a significant number that, everyone in the competitive scene wants, like you said, a stake, a prize, or, donate to a charity. We'd happily donate for a charity or for the growth of the game, directly into the developers. But I get it. Like, money's just an iffy situation. They want to avoid as much liability as they can. I think that's the biggest.
I mean, there doesn't have to be any liability with it, especially it would have to be a league that is an LLC that has their own banks away from somebody that is as proprietary ownership of it, right? And so I know that Scott, who's the CEO of Real, is a very intelligent person when it comes to, keeping his hand out of a basket that that is going to be legally obligated to not do. And so I think Vireo would be a great place to start something where it's like, hey, this is where money's going in the bank. It's going to cost your team $50 to $100, but it's like, and that's where people like my team comes in, that we're just not a team, we're an organization. And so like with people coming, it's like if you're starting to do paid tournaments, it's like, I will give you all the money and you guys can play, but you really have to sponsor, that's a sponsorship that you're playing underneath this name to help us, grow. And so that's where a lot of people, I wish that more orgs would come out of the woodworks and actually start doing this. So then we can say, hey, all those people, because I know for a fact not everyone can afford, I think say out of 5 people, if it's $20, $20 to some people, that's break it, or, that's a lot of money to some people.
Young kids too in our community. But what people in the chat are saying, as far as it being a permitting issue, sort of like fishing tournaments, or as well as how many players would actually be willing or able to put up significant amounts, like you said, because hey, somebody else said pay to play, and I think if you want to go that route, there are free tournaments as well. But I think that'd be something interesting, pay to play. What you're talking about is more of a sponsorship in the sense of, hey, we are playing, promoting, and publicizing your game, right? So for that, I think after growth and after more time and after, like we're thinking about it, the community today, we're sort of pioneering in the sense of lots of people have already pioneered, but now we're like the first 100, the first multitude Whereas if this becomes a mainstream game, or this community and these players are playing in tournaments and other games together, and there's a larger community, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people or more, that's where the sponsorships start happening. That's where companies are like, well, I want to foot in this because I see opportunities, merchandise, entertainability, people, sort of like how Ninja on Fortnite got his thing. I know his is personal endeavor and he's just streaming and he created all that. But because Fortnite knows now, like he's their best player, he created all this. Look at, that's where the sponsorship came from. That's where his money came from. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a thing of time, honestly. Time. And
yeah,
just,
dude, that guy doesn't even give a shit anymore. After his deal fell apart with Xbox, it wasn't his fault that Xbox went to shit. It's the second time it went bankrupt. But he pretty much now is just like you'll find him everywhere. That's his whole motto right now, is just stream absolutely everywhere. Like I can't turn on a freaking social platform that has videos without seeing Ninja all over the place, just murking people in Fortnite.
That's a grind right now. It's content creation. It's crazy. They're pushing it down your throats now.
That is the future. Is content creation, and like it's just that you can literally become a nobody. A nobody. Yeah. You can literally go to bed tonight as a nobody, post a video, and wake up and be on Jimmy Fallon by Sunday.
Right. That's true, and it's funny because we're living in a world where you're like walking down the street and you see a grown man and like a grown woman and they have a phone and they're filming a dance and you're just like, you know what I mean? Like it's a day-to-day thing. You're just pointing it out and you're like, what is going on? Like they're doing the moves and I get it. It's sort of cringy for everyone else, but it's content creation. Hey, you do you, man. You change that.
I freaking hate content creation so much. Yeah, I absolutely hate it.
I like the music part of it because, like, I'm a big music person. Yeah. I believe music is like a moment for everything, So whenever there's music involved, like, hey, let's get it, But otherwise, it's sort of, it's hard, man. It's a hard endeavor for sure.
But yeah, so like PinDad, they're saying basically that they think that it's permitting issues. I guess they say that they run into it with fishing tournaments and stuff like that. Talking about fishing tournaments, you hear about the biggest TikTok scandal that was going on with the person that put in all those weights in those fish?
Dude, I saw that. And it was hilarious, too, because it's like they're lifting stuff up. And they lift this one fish up. And they're like, look. And then they lift another fish up. And they're like, look. And then the one that's like super heavy, they're like, look. It's like the same size. Yeah. And then they cut it open. It's like, what? There's like 10,000 pounds in here. Like
I was talking to a buddy of mine about this, and I was just like, this isn't their first rodeo. Like, I guarantee that they were getting away with it so much, they were just like seeing like how much they could push until they finally get caught.
Yeah, everyone at the fishing tournament was like, yep, that's the champ. He's won 3 tournaments before he got here.
He literally had a minnow last tournament and damn thing was 35 pounds.
He won with anchovies one time. Like, he just has weights and marbles and what people want to do to win,
Fishing VR is pretty fun. I'm not going to lie.
I haven't done fishing VR, but that's just because like if I fish in real life, I never catch anything.
Oh yeah.
So even in VR, I'm like, I probably wouldn't have any luck.
It can get hard. Like there's like the easiest level where you can actually see the fish, and like you have to really do all the testing of the line. But then, like you get really extreme and not see any of the fish, where you're just like casting it and stuff, and it's just like they break your line all the damn time. It's fun. Wow. It's a good little thing to where like if you've been drinking or anything, you just like don't want to play anything competitively because you can't focus. You just sit there and fish.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Bone Lab has been something I've looked into a little bit. It just released. It came from the original game Bone Works, and it's sort of like a puzzle game you just run through.
Yeah,
and,
so
I love it for fun.
With Contractors being the only game that you play right, and it's not too intensive on the motion sickness. So Bone Labs, you need some VR legs. So like, were there moments that it kind of messed with you?
Not really. It just that's one thing I keep, I was shocked about is like not once have I, felt motion sickness or lost my place.
What? Really?
Dude, ever, never. And not only that, but like on Oculus, I don't use it consistently, but I use the where it spins your screen. I use the smooth, not the snap.
I don't use it at all.
Yeah, like I don't always use it, but like I can go complete 180 or 360 without losing a beat. Like I don't know. I think it's just because I understand I'm in a game and these are the
Yeah, that's
motions that it's going
yeah.
to make, and I sort of predicted it and all. My brain computes it. If I'm like doing it quickly or stuck in a bad spot, I'm sure I'd either just die or not be able to complete it. But
Hmm.
I've never had any problem with motion sickness. So Bone Labs has been just great. I've been flying through it, making memes and stuff.
Yes, I don't get I don't get motion sickness. I get like there's been times where I've kind of like misplaced like where I was at, and because I move around in free space, I don't use the joystick at all. So like even when I play
Okay.
contractors, I turn it off. and
Gotcha.
and so because I turn in free space, and
Yeah.
with me turning it off, when people jump, you know how biggest thing people complain about is when they're jumping, it'll actually
Yeah.
turn them sometimes.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
that
have
happens to me all
that
the
because
time.
it's off.
Yeah, you're lucky, man. I like to keep it off, but every once in a while, like I've used it too many times when I was in a tight spot. So that's why I
Hmm.
keep it on. But I play the way you play mostly. It's 360, and the way I don't lose myself is my guardian has points where I know what is what. So I play in front of a dresser and by a door.
Yeah.
By the door, I make a square. By the dresser, I outline the shape. So I know
Hmm.
exactly where I am and always pushing myself back to the center. But it's like that. I love this. I love the 360 of it, and that it's
Hmm.
not compromising of the aim or the compromising of the accuracy. Like the sensors are so good, man.
Yeah.
Even on Quest, the basic.
But yeah, so with Bone Labs, man, I have a TikTok of me on the elevator for the first time when it freaking free falls at the
Yeah.
on the tutorial. Dude, I about shit my pants. I full on about shit my pants. I'm just like all of a sudden I'm just like that was weird, and you can feel it tilted, and you can't really see in the video that the whole thing is tilted. And then I'm trying to hit
Yeah.
the button. I'm like, I don't like this. Give me the freaking button. The buttons do nothing. And all of a sudden, I
Right.
just start. It's like going up. I'm just like, wow, that's really giving me the butterflies in my
It gives you the
stomach.
feeling like you're there, right?
Yeah,
That's what I like. It's all adrenaline. VR does that. Like every game I've played does that. Just
yeah,
adrenaline to
yeah,
the
yeah.
brain.
Straight adrenaline.
It takes you out of where you are, right?
Yo, for sure. And so like I had that experience, and the only other time with that game is I when I flipped a go kart. You flip a go kart yet?
I have not yet. I have not
Yeah,
gotten to a go kart yet.
yeah, yeah. Wait till you get to the go kart part, because I've already beat the full game, of what for
Okay.
the campaign. Because I'm weird, and if I find a game, I try and beat it as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah, I've been just flying, like making videos through it. So
Yeah, and I have like so many things where because I streamed the playthroughs, which I put on YouTube, which for this,
okay.
and man, I could have almost been considered borderline like messed up in the head for the things that I was doing to some of these people. Like I would. There's a area in a room where they all come out of these doors, and I have only two butter knives, pretty much like steak knives, in my hand, and I'm just like, I don't need a
Wolverine
gun.
mode.
I don't need a gun. You guys don't have guns. I don't need guns. And so I would just like walk by. I was just like 1, 2, 1, 2, and I was just getting in the last guy. I just
Oh yeah.
stabbed both my things, and he just like his tongue's out and everything like that. I have
It's
two.
so realistic too, right? Like,
Yeah. I'm
oh
just
dude, you
like,
just went full Batman on
dude,
him.
I went full Dahmer.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Just
Yeah.
start eating after.
Exactly. Like I was
Jason,
just
where is it?
it was some weird stuff but man, the content that TikTok people make from these or just YouTube ones,
Oh yeah.
there was one that I watched that I'll have to send to you after this that's probably the greatest freaking video I've seen of it so far because they for a while in Bone Works they brought in like Spider-Man stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, that's where it's from. Wow, I love those. The one where he swings on the
Yeah.
bridge and
Yeah.
and there's Shaggy there sometimes. And dude, that's crazy. I didn't realize that was Boneworks. Wow.
Like freaking Ghost Maker Bone Labs better high.
That's true, dude. I literally like that's the only way to play Bone Labs, right? If you're not, token, then you're not, you know, choking,
Jeez.
you know.
I can't. I get freaking tested off the wazoo because of my job.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I that's what a lot of people said when they were playing Zenith. I knew a couple of people. They were just like, yeah. Sometimes I would just trip balls and play this, and I'm in a freaking fairy tale, and I go,
Oh yeah, dude, I can't
"Good-
imagine.
awesome. That's good for you. I mean, you're
Man,
pretty much in
right?
another world. Like, you can put on these VR headsets, and it's like, it's gonna get really crazy. Is one day when VR gets crazy, because no one's buying the Cambria, so the Pro. If you're,
Yeah,
don't waste your money on that, people.
that's true.
Please don't waste your money on it. Wait till
Mhm.
the Quest 3 comes out. But especially like Pico, they have a full color pass through as well. Man, people are gonna freaking do
Yeah,
mushrooms one day and put the a full color pass through on where you have like real shit in front of you, like Pokemon, and people are gonna lose their goddamn shit. And not only is it gonna
yeah,
be nutty that they're losing their stuff with a headset on, but people are gonna see this live and be recording
yeah.
people like with a. Could you imagine someone on like a hard drug like meth
Oh
on
yeah.
the streets playing Pokemon?
It's over, dude. It's over. Like
It's
I'm gonna
over.
take one step further. Neuralink.
Oh, dude,
Imagine they're feeling the sensations with
would you do
which
it?
they are seeing and hearing and maybe smelling,
Would you
Would
do
I
it?
do it?
Yeah.
Neuralink? Ooh, hell no.
No. What about
No, no, no,
after?
no.
What about after a few thousand people?
No. Dude, I'm a very like I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual, Like
Yeah.
I'm a follower of
Yeah.
God, I'm a Christian, but
Yeah.
the way I see that is like it's not because of any rules or anything. It's almost like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm a human, and like from my beliefs, I have God inside me. Like I am so much
Yeah.
more,
We're just you're becoming a robot when you put in that link in.
Exactly. Not even that. It's just like I get the access to information. I get the next step in human evolution, intelligence. But it's like, dude, I'm a human. I have my music. I have my soul. I have everything else. I am happy. I don't need all that. I don't want. I honestly wish I was dumber because ignorance is bliss. I don't need all these problems. So I don't want to. I don't want to. No, I'm
Dude,
good.
I
Thank you.
just upgrade me, freaking
Right.
upgrade me. That's I'm
Put
all.
it in, dude. Let me
Well,
get the Quest 3 version.
yeah, exactly. So like the very first people that they're gonna do have like literally like nerve damage and stuff like that. The people that have it, they've already
Yeah, probably.
used it. It's like there's a bigger version that you can actually see it outside your head and stuff like that. But
A
Mr.
PC, a
Beast
fan
was
and everything?
yeah, yeah. He's got they
Oh,
just
that's his fan.
installed the 4090 GPU Neuralink in
Oh, yeah.
person's head right now.
He got the chip from China,
Yeah,
the X Dragon 7.
Yeah, and so Mr. Beast was talking about it on YouTube, and someone asked him that question because he's really close with Elon, and he's just
Yeah.
like, I will 100% do it. He goes, not right away. He goes, I'll definitely let people do it first. Let the the first goers at it. Because he goes, if it fails, it fails. But he's like, I'm not gonna be part of that. But he's like, if you get this, you will be instantly rich because you have all the knowledge to where you can do whatever you want when you want. And there's also scary things where that chip can also be turned off.
Another thing is just this. Look, if a multitude or even a minority and then increasing becomes a multitude of people get the chip, anyone else will be inferior. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not inferior in the sense of like a debatable, oh, who's better, who's not, because that's a human and emotional endeavor. Whereas, if somebody has a chip in their brain, they know they're superior because they have access to all of
Yeah. You
human
will.
knowledge.
It's so.
I don't think that's interesting psychology wise. Is just imagine the natural version of the Neuralink, collective unconscious, which people talk about, which is just like we all just sort of have wisdom from everyone in our souls.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you put that Neuralink in, you'll be able to not only access anything you want that's on, anything connected to the World Wide Web, but you'd also have access to the dark web, which I don't think a lot of people know this, which is 95. I think it's 98% of the actual web is the dark web, and we only access 1 to 2% of the actual online web, and 1% of it's freaking porn. So the other 1% might be Wikipedia, which is halfway fact news, not real anyways. But and so we'll be able to access stuff like that, and you'll also be able to control like your own internal emotions and stuff like that, and like. I don't know a lot of people know this, but we have a gland that creates DMT in our own head. Like, you could literally make that burst. Like, literally morphin dump yourself all the time when you wanted to.
Yeah, that's a reality. When people break it down and they look at humans and our brains, they're like, wow. So it's all electrical signals pushing hormones into certain places, neurotransmitters. And that's what makes us happy, sad, chase after things, even motivate us. So like you said,
Hmm.
imagine having that on your iPhone, your serotonin setting
And
or
but
your dopamine setting,
yeah,
or
yeah, exactly. But
that's crazy.
they would have to find a way because like what Legendary say, he's like not everyone can handle the truth. But like I don't know if he means like what we're talking about now, but it's like
No, probably
if
it's
you
probably delayed, but
yeah, right.
let's
And
go with it.
yeah, to go with it. And I like because I have an idea with it. But it's like they're gonna have to find a way to monetize what people can get their hands on because, dude, like at that point, the government will never be able to lie.
Yeah, that's true. Or if since the government's the one selling it, only the
That's what I'm
government will be
saying.
able to lie.
Exactly, exactly, dude. Like
Uh,
that's why like Black Mirror is like literally like my favorite freaking
oh yeah.
show.
Dude, if you like Black Mirrors, you'd like there's this one movie you need to watch. I think it's called Spider something. Maybe or just Spider. Just look it up. It's with Chris Hemsworth and it's exactly what we're talking about.
hmm
It's a guy on an island and
Oh
he's
yeah,
making
okay, I know what you're talking about.
deals.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
It's so good,
that's a
man.
good one.
It's so good.
That's a really good one.
About the, affecting the brain and controlling. And Black Mirror is exactly that too. It's showing that our technological and intelligent advances are sort of putting us at risk for emotional and humanistic things that we all agree are wrong. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and so with Black Mirror, like there's a lot of things that with VR, dude. There's I don't. This has got me so excited, and no one's talking about it. I tweeted about it on Havoc's social media page. Is that they're making a show about VR?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on. It's
Oh, wait,
on.
I think I saw it.
It's
Is it
on
like
Prime
in VR though?
TV.
Like you can see all their avatars and
Yeah,
stuff?
so this guy,
Oh, yeah.
they're literally like in Alabama. Who knows? The actors could be brothers. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
They look like they're talking with a country accent. They just were in a trailer, and this guy, for some reason, was testing VR headsets of the future,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's like, "Try this one out," and then she puts it on, and all of a sudden she goes into like this pretty much damn near real like world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like VR chat.
Yeah, VR chat. Yeah.
Like just all these portals and these kids with avatars.
Yeah.
Mister.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Ultra Carbon, that was a good one too. That's some
dude,
that's
Ultra
that's
Carbon.
dude, that's where like if Neuralink gets like extreme, like that's pretty much what Ultra Carbon is based off of is Ultralink.
Yeah.
That's because that's all they're doing is that, and like my favorite thing, I don't know if anyone's ever seen me, big spoiler if no one's watched it, but there's a point where it's like there's two of them that are still alive, but because they're trying to do a mission with each other, and they know
Mhm.
that one of them's got to die because there can't be two of them. And so the way that they decided on who would be killed is they played rock paper scissors against each other until someone finally lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's the way to go.
yeah. But do you think with VR and so my last podcast I had Arcadia, and so they're starting to push towards a better type of VR gaming where they're going to start using AR, XR technology to actually
Yeah.
have the pass through of going to an actual physical gym and playing with people, but you can see the VR stuff and playing sports right all there. Do you think it's better to go that direction, or do you think there's going to be space for both of them? Because I think right now, like VR is a really good step to get people to get off their ass. Because right now, sitting and playing Fortnite 8 hours a day is not healthy.
Right. I think exactly like you said, they should have a good mix of you have to go somewhere, but this is what it'll end up being. The reason you don't have to go somewhere is because you're going somewhere that has this set camera or extra sensors that will better put you into the room and better put whoever's playing with you into the room, right?
Hmm.
Because I know we still can nowadays and fairly well, with the Oculus, for example, just the hand and the face sensors. But if you had some external cameras in a room, you could for sure simulate a tennis match. You could for sure simulate, any game, ping pong,
Hmm.
soccer, maybe not soccer, but a couple of other ones. And I think that's where the future is going. You've seen some colleges actually have VR leagues, whether it be sports or FPS or puzzle, or colleges are actually putting in money and sponsoring teams. I saw one college, I don't remember where it was, where because of COVID, they closed down all their sports and they started VR sports.
Oh, really?
Yeah, their athletes went nuts and like they got so mad. But it was just, I don't know if it's just during COVID time, if now it's back, but for them to take that initiative is like, oh wow, so it's growing, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I really hope, like right now, as you say, we're pioneers and stuff like that of VR. Like we really don't know how extreme or which direction it's going to go. Like right now, in my opinion, after the most recent thing that Facebook released or Meta, what they released with the Cambria and stuff, it's just like you could tell their direction is not gaming at all.
Oh yeah,
And
at least
that's
not
what
with that one, right?
Yeah, not with that one at all, because that one, like if you're buying that one for gaming, you're really not. You're buying it because you love VR and you just want the
Yeah, for the immersion and
yeah,
the
for
work,
the
right?
immersion and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like it's good for the work and it's good if people use it. But even
Yeah,
now, like I work for a huge company, like I would love to introduce this to my company, but my company would look at it and be like, no, like you guys are fine,
yeah,
like sitting right next to each other. I think if they would have released the Cambria, the mist of 2020 when we were going and being home for a lot,
sure.
like a long ass time, that
Yeah,
thing would have sold like hotcakes.
like crazy.
But
Yeah, and not only
now,
that, but they're targeting the execs who have that money to pay, right?
yeah, and so like now it's just like COVID's over. No one's
Yeah,
wearing masks. Like no one even if you've even talked about COVID, it's like nothing. The only thing that I got from my company before is that we get a couple days working at home now, and then we still got to go in the office. We're all next to each other, and then it's
yeah,
just like now it's like back in the day, like when you were sick, like half the time you still came to work. Now
yeah,
if you freaking sneeze and people are just like, go home, like why are you here? It's like
yeah.
like no one cares
That's
anymore.
that's a big thing. Yeah, I mean, hey man, like you said, if they had done it during the COVID time, that
Yeah.
would have been the move. Because, and it's exactly like you said, man. I hope Oculus 3 comes out and it's like, this is for my gamers. This is the specs we have, you know. Because right now it's like this is for whoever wants. Don't spend your money on a computer. Buy a $1,500 headset and just sit in front of a wall and use the headset as your
Hmm.
computer. And people are not used to that. People, especially anybody who doesn't use Oculus, you know, worker types, business types, they're not gonna say, "Oh, great, let me strap this onto my face," rather than using what's comfortable and what's familiar.
Yeah.
So we'll see who's willing to take that
Well,
venture and how useful it actually is, right?
I don't think the headset's worth $1,500. I think they're
Oh
doing
yeah,
that because Meta owns the they are the true headset right now that people want to, and so
yeah,
since no one else is really competing with them, they're just like we can set. They want to be the set baseline setters. But the
yeah,
thing is that all these companies that are ready to make VR headsets, the only thing they're doing is because they're waiting for Meta or Pico to make the right algorithm headset, and the next thing you know, everyone's gonna flood through the gates and make the same thing. And
yeah,
I really don't want to see an upflux of all these headsets, because with all these headsets, you get exclusive deals where you don't get all these games here and there,
that's true.
which is super freaking annoying.
They can't
Like
play together, right?
yeah, exactly. Like right now, it's really hard to play games with PlayStation people, even
Oh
though
yeah.
they just made a really good headset. Apple's getting ready to come out with their headset. That thing's coming in at $2,000. That's gonna be ridiculous. But who knows what the specs that's gonna be? That's just people hardly talk about that.
Yeah, they aren't even paying the children working in the factories that money.
Hmm.
But dude, somebody mentioned in the chat, Raised by Wolves. Have you seen that show?
Yes, it's great.
Dude, what that show is like incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. I wish it was still on right now. Like what? Like this man's raised by robots, you know?
Well, I never watched it for the longest time because I thought it was some wolf show.
Right. I didn't watch it because I was just like, I don't know, just seeing the face of it. I'm like, what is this, you know? And then when I did watch it, I was like, what is this? But in a happy way. And it
Hmm.
was great. And I hope season 2 comes out. But
There's a
yeah.
season two.
Oh no, not season. Like it was discontinued. I've watched all the seasons that
Oh
are
wait,
out.
it was
But
discontinued?
yeah, they shut it down. They canceled it.
What?
So
What?
and anything, there's nothing to wait for ever again.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of good things coming with VR. I don't really know what's going to come with gaming. I
Yeah,
think right now people are waiting for true standalone gaming that's going to be like PC VR. But
sure.
that's going to be a very powerful headset. And with
That's
them
what I
keep on
want.
making these GPUs, freaking laptop size, freaking modules, like where did it go from trying to make everything so small and still powerful to now you see the freaking 4090 is just like a freaking brick. You could build houses with that thing.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, that's what I like though. Um, how much is growing that they're making more headsets just because it's like think about the first. You remember PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2? Remember how PlayStation 1 was that little gray and tiny?
Yeah.
And then the PlayStation 2 was this giant brick because they were trying to get more power, more stuff. And then they got the slim version and so it's exactly that. And not only that, but like today, 2022, if I get a PlayStation 3 and play some games, like it's not great, but it's like, wow, this is, playable. It's good.
Yeah.
That's gonna be us in like 20 years playing back on our old Oculus headset. Whereas then watch like
now it's gonna be and it might be a contact.
Yeah, or like a tiny thing, or just like headphones you put on. I click on this, and there's like holographic screen. I don't know. That's maybe jumping too far, but I could see it.
I could see it either becoming room scaled, where you walk into a room, and it puts you into the thing to where it's all glass. It's all TVs and mirrors and stuff. There's a show that's kind of like that, but it's not completely like that. It's the one where you can control the people when they go to war. And like they're prisoners, and you control them, and they're real people that are like on death row, and you get to play a game with real people.
Lord, is it like sounds like Westworld?
I mean, it's not Westworld. It's got I can't remember. It's a famous actor. I'll have to send it to you later. It's pretty good. But Vive is making a new one. It's called no, not Vive. It's Steam Deck is making a new headset. Steam is making the Deckard. Well, that's rumored.
I've never played with an index, but just by the people I've seen, like I like Sir Galahad's clips, and he plays on index and PCVR, and I'm like, man, that's clean. And index was the same one that they used at the championship for the Veil final, so I'm always like, but it's pricey and the PC.
But it's not always. It's not. It doesn't matter. You don't need the index. You do not need it.
Yeah, it's not always better too.
Well, here's the thing: is that it's all about the PC and what you're working with. Because right now, if you look, I asked a couple of people that I'm friends with that actually like do reviews and get things beforehand. I was like, look, like I'm about to buy a PC. It's gonna be a freaking beefy PC, and I was like. Is it okay just to use my Quest, or should I also get the Index when I buy this as well? And he was just like, I would not get the Index. He goes, it was good, but he goes, it's old now. He goes, something's about to come out better. There's nothing wrong with using your Quest. And the Quest, not only that, but when you're playing PC VR, you're at 120 hertz.
Yeah, and the Quest is let's give some credit to the Quest, because as a consumer available and well priced until they raised it. It's very good. It's a very good machine.
Yeah, they raised it because no one's competing with them, and so they can raise it.
I thought they raised it just because, like you said, it's sort of hilarious. They were looking at it and they're like, guys, Xbox and PlayStation are both selling at 5. We're at 300. We can sell for 4 and they'll still buy.
That's you know what's dumb though? You know what they just did? They just made everyone remove their orders for Christmas, and everyone's buying the Pico.
Oh, really?
I
heard about the influx of Pico. I saw that Pico 4. It's actually looking kind of promising. But like what I noticed is, I'd say the Pico 4 is probably about like 20% better than the Quest 2, maybe 30, like from the specs and everything you're looking at.
Well, they got pancake lenses. It's 4K lenses. It's different. It's got full color pass through. It's a nice looking headset. Their controllers are really nice. I like the controllers.
They're smaller, yeah.
They're smaller.
I thought about getting it. I think I'm just gonna wait though for Quest 3, like everybody else. Hopefully earlier next year.
Well, I like someone asked earlier, like, would I prefer playing with the Quest 2 or the Quest Pro controllers? The Quest Pro ones are freaking slick, dude. They don't have the ring anymore. They're just freaking controllers in your hand. The only thing that happens is like gunstock companies will really have to, morph around how they're trying to get that controller on there.
Change.
You have to change with everything. Like I talk to Olin all the time, and he's like, "Yeah, I have to buy all these headsets because no one has a similar freaking a controller. It's just a freaking pain in the ass. I was like, yeah, I feel you, man. It's got to be a mess.
Oh yeah, especially with everything coming out, and we'll have to see, right? We got like they're saying in the chat, and like you were saying, there's no point in buying anything that's available right now. Like we're ending the year, going to begin another year, and things are just flying off the shelf as it grows. And
Hmm.
Mark Zuckerberg is just working hard, and as well as his competitors plotting his downfall.
Well,
But
well, if Mark doesn't do something really quickly, I'm really scared for their side of VR. Like
yeah,
it, just for a lot of things, just because like the whole like this is not a rumor, and I still will say allegedly because I don't want sued by Mr. Mark either. Is that allegedly what is being said is that the people that are building Horizon World are also modding it as well. Don't want to even be in their own game. They don't want to be in Horizon because
it's
it's so laggy and it's just not not good to be in. And so if you look at that and it's like you have a leading headset, you have this metaverse, and that's why you even changed your name to Meta. That
right.
your whole vision was to make pretty much like Ready Player One type metaverse,
Yeah, people should want to be in there, right?
and then you give us Horizon World.
Yeah, or VR chat even. I mean,
They might as well just gave us Rec Room.
right. It's exactly. I mean, if something doesn't come out soon, that's at least I don't know, semi more realistic or more
They
just
plan on
efficient,
it.
dude.
They want
Yeah,
to. They want to. I just don't know why they don't. And I think the reason why is because standalone quests cannot handle what they want.
yeah, that's true.
It,
Standalone Quest cannot handle a lot.
oh hey, but hey, at least we get legs. I was thanks
Oh
for that,
yeah,
Sapir. I
Wes.
so thank you for reminding me that we get legs.
Yeah, Horizon World is full of screaming kids and not much else. That's exactly right. That's
Gosh,
why you need to scream louder when you're in Horizon
legs.
World.
I
But
don't even legs. Gosh dang, that was he when they said that during the whole Connect thing. I'm just
oh
like,
yeah.
we get freaking legs. That's really news to you.
Oh
Like,
yeah. The Connect thing was, dude, I was watching it from the beginning and it was just like, come on, get to the point, Mark. Like everybody going through their presentation. So I
hmm
might have even missed the legs announcement because I was just like, who are these people and where is the Quest
yeah,
3 but or the Quest Pro? But as soon as I saw the Quest Pro, I was like, yeah, no, I'd rather listen to those people talk.
yeah. And so yeah, more dogs. The meeting one is pretty nice in Horizon. They're good for their meeting stuff, but they're nothing good for gaming or meta. Like my vision
Yeah.
of meta is taking all the games in the Quest store and then putting you in a room with all your friends and they're just doorways that you can walk into and then
Yeah,
you
that's how it
get
should be.
it's how
That's
it
the
should
way.
be. Instead of seeing a library, get rid of the PlayStation, Xbox, Steam,
Yeah.
flat screen thing. Load me in to where I become friends with people, and you have this mass world of interconnected people that you're always online. You have rooms, you can always run into people. It's almost like when you load in to the poker place, Poker Stars. Like
Oh
when you
yeah.
load in there, you instantly load into the casino where you can sit there, talk to people, and then you go find a table.
Yeah.
Like
That's the way
that.
it should be, honestly.
Yeah.
That's I know VR chat is a little bit more like that, but even there it's very arcadey. They
Mm-hmm.
have portals, they have gotta choose a world, and you can invite friends like Among Us is coming out soon on VR,
Yep.
but
Yep.
they had a VR chat version of Among Us. So it was real
Yep. Oh,
glitchy.
it was good. It sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was good, but it sucked.
Yeah, it was glitchy, but
Yeah.
it was fun to play. So I got in there with some of the guys from the Brazil team,
Yeah.
and it was a hoot. And it was exactly that. Like, dude, exactly like you're saying, man. If after that we go through another portal when we're back in the lobby together and we're like, oh, let's go play this game together. Let's go do this.
Exactly.
It's like it's you're with the boys. It should be more realistic since we already get the feeling. It's more immersive. It should be
Yeah.
more.
And
Easy.
not only should, like, there's certain things where you should start being able to share certain content with your friends if they can't have it. It's like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you ever look at certain games, so for instance, Walkabout Mini Golf. I don't know if anyone knew this, but if
Yeah.
you own every DLC and every course, and your buddy doesn't want to pay the $2.99 for the 8 new courses that they have, if you're friends with them and if you load in and you make the lobby, they don't get disconnected. They get loaded into that game and they get to play it. And guess
Yeah, you
what?
could share it.
That promotes them to want to buy it when they're like, oh, I really like this. I do want this for my free time now. I'm going to buy it. So if they start
Mhm.
making portals to where you get to walk in with your friend, like say you don't get to do it all the time because obviously people are going to abuse it. Say like you get to walk in 5 times with your friend to play the game, or you get a timer and you get kicked out. But then it's like giving them demos, instant
Yeah.
demos.
Oh, yeah. That's the way to go. I mean, nobody nowadays, especially, people need that more than just looking at it and saying, "Hey, this looks cool." You get a reference, you try it out, and then it's go time. But that's the problem. Like you were saying, people abusing.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be the biggest issue why we're not seeing all this, is because that's what they're thinking of. If you got to think, if you're taking care of that many people, and there's so many what ifs and
Yeah.
harassment and just vulgarity, whatever can come up, especially with minors in the mix, and not being able to regulate all that, it gets really, really tough. I understand the standards is hard to organize.
Yeah, and I think the only way that they can get away from the abusing of it is a monthly subscription. That's
Yeah,
that's the only way is that it's like
you got an
PlayStation
account,
Plus.
right? You're
Yeah,
accountable.
yeah, you're accountable. It's
That's the
on.
biggest thing.
Yeah, and so you pay for it monthly, and then all these new people making games, they get royalties off of it.
Yeah, and that's like like you were saying, you can become accountable to the point of oh, if somebody's abusing, they'll get their account banned because
Hmm.
that was a service you paid for. You were opting in to sort of a contract, sort of an agreement to abide by the rules, right?
Yeah,
And if you didn't, then
but that's why I really want like Ready Player One, where you have real currency, and if you die in the metaverse, you lose everything,
Lord, that's dangerous.
dude.
You're talking about some China stuff right there. They're trying to do that, a one world currency, and destroy our economy. So I'm not just speaking stipulations or like false stuff. Like this is what's going on like today, like 2022 news because of chips manufacturing and
Hmm.
war and stuff. But let's stay on a positive note
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and man, freaking an hour and a half flew by,
Oh yeah,
man.
dude. I think we're good. My throat is hurting. I've been having my tea here, and hopefully I'm not sick tomorrow.
Oh yeah, yeah. You probably made your throat even 10 times more drier. But
Yes, I did.
yeah, that's why I always have water. There's been 2 times where I've been doing the podcast where I always get my water, and I was like rushed on, and all of a sudden we started, and I hit the play button, and all of a sudden I'm just like, "Where's my water?" I look over, and it's on the ledge right next to me, there where I can't reach. I'm just like, that just made me 10 times thirstier seeing it
Yeah.
right there.
Hey,
Like,
drink your water, man. I've drunk all of my water already.
yeah, I had to
I'm
go
all
for a
done.
bigger cup. Just you gotta get ready for these podcasts, you know.
Oh yeah, of course. No, dude. Shout out to all my man boyos. Thanks for watching. Just got a shout because I didn't shout them out till now. So if you stuck around till now, you're
Yeah,
a real
you,
one.
you got the special shout out, you know.
Yeah,
But is there anything you want to end with?
dude. Just the contractors community and just VR in general is sort of it's funny how in VR, since you're more immersed, you create these friendships, you create these communities, these things that you look forward to, and it's hobbies and fun, So
Hmm.
just gotta love it, and all love to Havoc and everything y'all are doing, and all love to man, my boy, yours, and then everyone else in the contractors community, of course, right?
Yeah, and so we'll have to put together some night to all play with each other for Among
Yeah,
Us, and I
would, dude. That'd be hilarious.
yeah, and I will end with this last story, and then we'll close it out about Among Us in the VR chat that you reminded me of, and
Yeah.
I always, like I used to get on. It was like the very first time I ever tried VR chat, and I saw Among Us. I'm like, I never even played Among Us on the Pancake game, so I'm just like, I'm gonna give it a go. And so I load in, and you can be whatever character you want. Like, you know the show All Real Monsters? Like, I don't know how old you are, but that was the shit. That show was the greatest thing of my childhood. And if you don't know what it is, look it up.
I will look it up.
I don't know if you're going to like it. It was a different generation in the early 90s, but it's called All Real Monsters. And there's this guy that is this hairy, fat guy with hair. He's got little eyeballs. He wears up here and stuff like that. Freaking loved that show. Exactly.
This show is trippy.
Yes,
dude.
there he is. So you got to be that character in VR chat. And I was, because you didn't have to be the typical red, blue, or whatever. And I just remember playing with all these kids running around screaming. And I'm freaking terrified because I don't know who the killer is. And there's this person that apparently some of the characters you can get onto their back. And so he's like, hey, come here. I'll protect you. Get on my back.
What?
And I didn't know too much about the game. Next thing you know, I'm in a vent. I'm in a goddamn vent. And I'm like, and I was just talking to him. He's like, hey, man, how you been? And he's like, I'll protect you. I'll protect you. You're on my back. And I go, what are we doing in a vent? And someone's just like, someone's in a vent. So there's an imposter. And I go, are you the imposter? And he starts evil laughing into my headset. Just, he's like, you are. But he goes, don't worry. You're on my back. You're safe with me. And I'm sitting there just like, what do I do in a situation? I'm in Dahmer's house right now.
Right, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Jeffrey Dahmer, man, you were in the wrong spot.
Gosh,
he's like, you'll be safe on my back, and the next thing you know, you're in a vent.
Yeah, and so he's like, hey, just don't tell on me when we go out there. So he drops down. I'm still on his back, and he starts murking people right in front of me, mowing them down. And then someone did the imposter button, and then they're just like, there was one person left in him. And then I go, I think it's him, isn't it? And we vote the other guy out, and then he killed me.
He turns to you, he's like,
yeah, he's like,
hey,
sorry.
You want a beer?
Yeah. Hey, you want a beer? Looking nice tonight. He's
right.
I'll give you $50 for some pictures.
I'll pay you. Let's take some pictures.
Yeah. Oh wow, you're pretty good at pretty good at that one.
Oh man. Yeah, my throat is killing me. I need to get some rest, and you too, of course.
Yeah, so thanks for being on the podcast. I've been trying to get more than just devs on. I've been trying to get people that actually appreciate the game, because you know, sometimes you get the real honesty about the game and like things that actually need fixed, and then obviously people like to listen to some of the players that like you go around and whoop everyone's ass and contractors. So
I make them listen.
Yeah. At least people get to see like the real side of you instead of the gaming competitive side, and that's what I'm trying to do. But
that's what I thought as well.
Yeah, and so definitely gonna have more people on for that. But if everyone, this is King Louie. All his stuff is in the description. I have his TikTok on there, and I believe you gave me your YouTube as well, right?
Yes, thank you.
Go check out Dubby. Get 10% off. You just use VR Havoc, all caps. Olin VR. It's something Havoc as well. It's all in the description. Olin, you get like 15% off, and you get a gun charm as well. And then Ruck Up, they're in my thing, but there's more for 2023 coming out for them. But other than that, I have one of our players on from Pavlov coming on called Cuss Des Toads. That's a hard one.
Cuss Des Toads.
But we're doing a Halloween one. We're going to dress up, and we're going to be spooky. So
I'll be watching. That'll be awesome.
Yep. So thanks again coming on. Don't leave yet. I just got to end this, and we'll talk.
Yeah, don't worry, man.
Okay, but everyone that's watching, see you next Monday. No, not Monday. No, I have to go. No. I have to go trick or treating. It's gonna be Sunday at 9 p.m. East. I gotta go trick. So Sunday. See you all on Sunday.
Take it easy.